Religions, with particular reference to the missionary religions, are for political and economic exploitation of peoples. God is opposed to exploitation of fellow human beings. He is, quite on the contrary, love and compassion. And you can see that the missionary religions are not concerned about love and compassion, but how you become a member, a sheep, an woman. That is their own concern. So, love of neighbor as common children of God, compassion for fellow human beings are not the preoccupation of missionary religions, but how you become converted and be loyal. That is their own. So the very opposite of who God is and what God wants. And so you can see why one religion is opposed to another religion, and they work at counter purpose, parallel lines that meet for conspiracy or conflict. That is our experience in Nigeria. Two parallel lines, religions that meet only for conspiracy or conflict. That is our experience in Nigeria. And that is why Nigeria is very chaotic. Because too many people have been converted to this or that opposing religion. So, love is lost. Compassion is nowhere to be found. Even sometimes in the fellowships of the two religions, human beings remain human beings. Why do you think one religion will fight another religion, if not for politics and money? And even within the same religion, you can see conflicts. Bishops slapping bishop, or bishop slapping a cleric, and the cleric fighting back. Is that the spirit of God or the spirit of mammon? In Nigeria, ongoing, the northern elders, and northern Nigeria is dominated by Muslims. The core north is basically Muslim, for the most part Muslim, at least wielding the political power. And the elders are appealing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to declare state of emergency because of the crisis of insecurity in the north, including the 20 soldiers that have just been killed by terrorists in the north in 2025, a crisis that dates back to 2009. But Nigeria's Muslim and Christian rulers are thriving under its guise, compounding the situation of Nigeria, impoverishing, retrogressing the country, and impoverishing the masses of the people. Yet, overwhelming Muslims and overwhelming Christians. Why? Because these religions are political and economic religions. But many unsuspecting people see God They don't see the politics. Even when these religionists wage war to impose the religion and creating crisis and conflict to impose the religion and stamp out any other religion, the people still think God is behind it. A God that cannot fight for himself, Abi? Is that what it is? A God that cannot achieve what he wants to achieve without war. Whether crusade war or jihadist war. Is that what it is? So, deception galore. One virgin gave birth to God, who died to save humanity from sin. God needed to die to save human beings. Or that God sacrificed his own son for human sins. God sacrificed his own son to who? And are human sins gone? Oh my God. Oh my God. Or that an angel brought a book down from heaven. Where is the book? Because when you open the book, for all you can see is a corruption of Jewish and Christian scriptures. The book brought down from heaven by an angel, fraught with Judeo-Christian prophets. But yes, these missionary religions are preaching every day, every time, every hour, on radio, on television, on the social media, in the public space, in every nooks and corner of Nigeria, cranny of Nigeria, churches and mosques. To what positive effect on the economy, on the political, economic life of Nigeria and Nigerians? To what effect? We have degenerated to a point where subsidies are removed from basic necessities of life to subsidize pilgrimages. Yes, these politicians understand that the two missionary religions have rendered the hearts of most Nigerians. And so, the clerics of the two religions are feeding the populace with opium. So they keep going to church and mosque to weep to God, rather than going after the politicians, stealing all the money and subsidizing pilgrimages, funding pilgrim boards and subsidizing pilgrimages to please the two religions that have become larger than God. Because God is no longer in control. These are the people in control. Yes, in my own life, God is in control. But in Nigeria, Christianity and Islam are in control. All the rulers are Christians and Muslims. Christians or Muslims. That's what they are. So they conspire together, and where expedient, real conflict, competition, competitive religions. And you see God there, you are blind. You have lost your minds. That's where we are. So why will two religions of God be fighting one another, envy one another, conspire against one another? Why? Or even within the religion, a bishop slapping a cleric and the clerics slapping back. Real conflict that they have to be separated. And you don't see money, you don't see politics and money Where you gather people is politics. Where you gather and control people in the name of God is politics. And what you derive from it, plenty of money. And because these religions are helping to tame the people through the opium given to them by the clerics, the country remains governable for them. Peace where none should exist. Because where there is no justice, there should be no peace. And that is why there should be justice. But when the people are already tamed, they have been reduced to docility. Complacency. That is what the missionary religions have reduced Nigerians into. Docile people, sheep, uma. Sheep. Cows, actually, maybe we should say cows, because they have more milk than sheep. Cows that are milked by the runners and drivers of the missionary religions. And, so they will swear by their holy book without upholding the law of Nigeria, including that there shall be no state religion in any part of Nigeria. Look at the ground. Is that what is happening? With removing subsidies from basic necessities of life to fund pilgrimage boards and subsidize pilgrimages. Just a tip of the iceberg. And you go to the east, the heartland of Igbo land, the southeast. You go there. Big, extravagant churches. Still saying that the misery of the southeast is because they are still allowing African traditional religion to exist. So, no power like Jesus Christ. But when it comes to African traditional religion, they accuse it of being behind the misery of the southeast. So, yeah, because when human beings don't think, they don't use the thinking faculty given to them by God, they have to be miserable. There are no two ways about it. If you can't use your thinking faculty to say this is good and this is bad, then you are doomed. And that is why the Muslim North is the most chaotic in Nigeria, the most unsafe place to be, followed by the Southeast. When you look at the level of crisis, the two regions, the Christian Southeast and the Muslim North, the most insecure, the most chaotic. And that is where you have the missionary religions most dominant, hardly diluted. Insecurities, terrorism in the Muslim North. Terrorism is predominant, armed banditry predominant, kidnapping predominant. Why? Religionists of God accusing other people of idolatry, people who turn a human being into God, and they cannot mention God without mentioning his name. Yes, it's the same with Islam. You can't say you accept Almighty Allah and reject the Quran, Prophet Muhammad, and the Kaaba. See, these are people accusing other people of idolatry. So when I tell you about deception, about politics and money as the goal, the ultimate goal, you think that I am just talking because I abandoned Christianity, into which I was converted as an infant. even despite my resistance. Because when they came to me, I resisted. I said, we are masquerade devotees. And they said, it doesn't matter, you are doing masquerade and coming to church are not contradictory. So as an infant, it sounded okay with me, and I started going to church. So that was the origin. One thing added to another, I became Reverend Father, but still, I could not understand how somebody died to redeem human beings of sins, and sins are still trailing human beings. I can't understand. So, you want a better life? You want a better country? God is the answer, not religion. All he wants is that you recognize him as your creator, as your owner, your protector, to whom you are always grateful, and to whom you always turn at every event. That's what he needs. He rejected house in the very beginning. He said, are you the one to build house for me, or me to build house for you? Still, human beings corrupted everything and still built house for God. And now you have temples, synagogues, more churches, mosques. Traditional Africa says God is everywhere. You don't build a house for God.